Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between, welcome back to another episode of Outside the City. It is going to be a very, very, very big episode for us. So, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the big news, Ethan?
I am so excited to spill the beans, everybody. Gregg Berhalter is no longer the coach of the men's national team. Gregg has been eliminated from U.S. soccer. As you can tell, I am extremely happy about this news. It dropped around 5 o'clock Eastern today, and it could not have been a better end to my day. Grayson, what'd you think, dude?
I feel like I can speak for every USA fan here that we've been wrestling with this for so long. Ever since the World Cup, we haven't been exactly sure whether he is the guy, he isn't the guy. And it seems to us that the Federation also had a big issue making up their mind. Um, Obviously, we know they went through a big roundabout way of hiring an outside company to come in and decide who the new coach is going to be. Ended up hiring the same motherfucker.
The biggest
Um,
finesse.
and here we are, finally getting rid of the guy that it seems to always come back. And yeah, I'm definitely happy about it. Um, I think Greg was just holding us back. That's all it is.
Personally, I have no hate in my heart for Greg. Granted, we have not been as successful as we need to be with our golden generation underneath him at the helm. So this news to me is both shocking while also expected, coming off of our Copa performance that we covered in the last episode. This was needed as much as firing a coach is needed for any team. Check out the St. Louis City organization, for example. Personally, I'm mostly excited just to see who we get out of this to go forward. I would be remiss if we got a coach without a high caliber, especially with the World Cup coming here, joint host with Canada and Mexico in 2026. I think we need a name of the highest caliber coaching our golden generation to hopefully a World Cup victory on home soil in 2026. So I know we have a lot of opinions about who should be coach of this team going forward. Ethan, who is your pick?
So my pick is maybe a little controversial, but also very realistic in my opinion, and that is the Frenchman Hervé Renard. He really gained fame and in worldwide notoriety from coaching the Saudi Arabian national team during the 2022 World Cup. Actually, he coached them to beat Argentina in that World Cup, which is a pretty fantastic achievement. I don't think that's something Gregg Berhalter could have gotten out of the U.S. men's national team. So I believe that Renard would be really good for this position because I think he would really inspire the squad to get the best out of themselves and go out and perform for the badge. I think it would be a level of good discomfort for the team and really push them forward to that next level as we make a push in probably the most important time of US soccer in history.
Wow, the only team Argentina lost to on their road to winning a World Cup.
Coached by
Wow.
Hervé Renard. So could is he the guy to win us the World Cup? I can't say for sure, but I like our odds with him at the helm for a couple of years leading into that phase. And I do think I truly feel that it would be the kind of change up that US soccer needs from the kind of nepotistic uh bullshit that we've seen from them.
Yeah.
Grayson, who's your pick?
So these past couple years with Berhalter, we've been lacking two things: coaching pedigree and a coach with a backbone. Coaching pedigree. Of course, Berhalter, the highest level he has coached was the U.S. men's national team. Prior to that, he had a stint with Columbus Crew, which honestly didn't go very well. Not 100% sure why he got the job in the first place. Just kidding. It was nepotism. No merit there. But he did have a decent start with the U.S. men's national team. And of course, the players loved him, which was another reason why he came back to the squad. This is why I think we need a coach with a backbone. We don't need a coach who's going to be buddy buddy with these guys. We need a coach who's going to kick their ass, get them in line, and get them to play hard, get to play for the badge, play for the country. Um, of course, there's always that saying, you can't be best friends with your kid. Like, if you want your kid to come out right, you got to give them a little bit of discipline. That's why I think if we're looking for pedigree, an American coach with pedigree and a backbone, we're looking at Jesse Marsh here, current head coach of the Canadian national team. So he does have some experience on the international level. He just took this very weak Canada side to the semifinals of this Copa America that we just got knocked out of. And in my mind, we have a much stronger team, albeit they do have Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David. I think we have players of this caliber on our squad as well. So that just goes to show that he can cultivate winning culture on the international level in tournament play. Coaching pedigree, he has coached at the top level in England, coached Leeds United, where he does have experience coaching some of our national team members, including Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson at his time at Leeds. So he does have a little bit of experience with these players. And yeah, he's gonna bring some discipline to the squad and some fire that I think St. Louis that I think USA needs.
I believe he was also a finalist for the position before we decided to rehire Gregg. So should have experience with the U.S. Soccer Federation and a former international player as well.
Yeah, my pick is definitely low hanging fruit, but it's low hanging fruit for a reason because it makes sense. My pick to coach the U.S. men's national team is no stranger to our Captain America in Christian Pulisic. He is no stranger to winning on big stages. He is no stranger to having uber talented teams and pushing them past the goal line. My pick is the one and only Jurgen Klopp, former manager of Liverpool, former manager of Borussia Dortmund, Champions League winner, definitely one of the greatest soccer minds there is in the world right now. And he is currently without a job. He left club football because of, it was becoming more tedious than it was fun for him. He had done everything he could with Liverpool. He dominated at Borussia Dortmund, taking away a title from Bayern Munich, the German giants. And I think the last thing he needs on his transcript is a World Cup victory on home soil, coaching the United States to a World Cup victory. I don't really think there's much more I need to say as far as Jurgen Klopp's pedigree, as far as his ability as a head coach. To me, it makes the most sense. U.S. soccer has the most money in it that it's ever had in its entire life. Pump it into Jurgen Klopp, pump it into World Cup 2026, and bring home the coveted gold ball.
I will say he is a long-term admirer of Christian Pulisic, having coached him at Dortmund and then pursuing him again at Liverpool. So yeah, long-term admirer, big fan. Hopefully those two will work together and Jurgen can unlock our star boy.
He's also mentioned that he has no real interest in coaching at the club level again. So that really only leaves the door open to an international team. And the timing couldn't be better for the United States in this instance. He has already gone out on social media and talked about his love for the United States. So I really hope that this could work out. It would be almost a dream scenario for the United States. The one issue that I've seen that people are calling out is the potential lack of salary that is coming to the future coach of our national team. I believe Gregg is one of the lowest paid coaches in CONCACAF at around $3 million. But at this point, U.S. soccer needs to shell out the cash for a good coach.
we've definitely got the money somewhere in the budget. We can figure it out with all the quote grassroots academy teams and all their pay to play. So why don't we just pump some of that money into an actual meaningful tournament victory?
Trickle up economics.
I do want to say though, while granted these are our picks of who we would want as a head coach, I think the US soccer job is one of the most desirable of jobs right now because the World Cup is coming here in 2026 and because of the group of talent we've got, not just in the 26-man roster we just had for Copa America, but also for the 23 cup or the 23-man roster that we're sending to the Olympics this year. A lot of young names, a lot of really young ballers on that team with only three over 23-year-olds being on that roster in Zimmerman, Mihailovic, and
Robinson.
Miles Robinson. That's right. So we have a really fun pool of players to pull from, a really good pool of players to pull from, and also the ability to go out and win a World Cup at home is, more than desirable for many coaches. And I think makes it that much more desirable for those top level coaches.
Yeah, quick advertisement for the US soccer job. Would you like to become an American hero to over 300 million people? Do I have the job for you?
For
All
real.
right. You just got to coach our team to a World Cup trophy. All right.
It's not that
That
hard.
easy. That easy. You could easily become the most hated man in America. Whatever. That's a little side note there, but
Yeah, live by the sword and die by the sword, okay?
exactly. Well, I think that concludes this conversation on the US at the moment. So let's go ahead and get a little wider view outside of the city and take a look at the Euros. So the Euros today just finished up the semifinals with England beating the Netherlands 2-1. Last minute goal from Ollie Watkins, assisted by Cole Palmer. Let's go. Get in there. Huge win for England there to bring them to the Euro final against Spania. Spain, baby. Spain have brought it back. Last time they were in the Euro final, I believe, was 2010 when they won the whole thing. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. You guys want to cover a little bit on how both teams got there? See who they beat?
Dude, I'll be happy to recap Spain and France because unfortunately I did not get to watch England versus the Netherlands. But Spain, of course, the young star boy Lamine Yamal carries the Roja over France. A lot of people's favorites in this tournament, but Spain have looked so good. It would be impossible to talk about this game without mentioning the performance from 38-year-old Jesus Navas. I'd be lying to you guys if I knew that he was still playing professional football, nonetheless, at the international level and putting in a shift against France. Locking up Mbappe at 38 years old is something I can only dream of. And a lot of 38-year-olds out there will never get the chance to say they did that. So big props to Jesus Navas, big props to the Spanish national team. They look reminiscent of that dominant era Spain where they just figured out ways to win with a mashup of Barcelona and Real Madrid's best players. But really good Spanish side. They are my pick to win the final. Really surprising to see. Honestly, I'm very surprised to see England back in the Euro final. Jacob, what'd you make of that?
Yeah, Spain is also my pick to win the Euro final. I think they've been one of the more exciting teams to watch as far as attacking has gone this Euros. Lamine Yamal, the young phenom, young superstar, he's going to be so much fun to watch for years to come. And then also just like this revamped Spain defense that has kind of been lacking since the likes of Sergio Ramos and Gerard Piqué were holding it down back there. This new defense has come forward and been so much fun to watch, not including the Cucurella handball in
I
the
was gonna
box.
say, why is Kukurea good? What is happening?
Yeah, how did that happen? How is
Hey,
Cucurella
I've been
good?
calling it. Bro's been good. He was so nice at Brighton. So nice at Brighton.
Also,
Shit.
Danny Olmo has been a revelation for Spain. How good has he been in this tournament? My word.
He's been
Um,
insane. Insane.
With that being said, though, on the other side of things, England has had quite the journey to the Euro finals. It has been all over media outlets on whether or not they're like even a good team at the Euros this year, with players underperforming, yet somehow still getting to the finals, being in the midst of a tournament and people calling for Southgate's head. It's been crazy to watch if you've been on Twitter the last month, but. First off, England won their group with one win and two draws, pushing forward. They played Slovakia in the first round of 16. They won that game 2-1. Then they came up against Switzerland in the quarterfinal, which, if you did not watch that game was so much fun to watch. They ended up beating Switzerland 5-3 on penalties. Today, like Grayson had talked about in the semifinal, they came up against Netherlands, and with that last minute goal, were able to push through 2-1 to meet Spain in the finals. Now, while I don't have them picked as my favorite to win the Euros, I do think they are a good team. I think it says a lot that even though your team is underperforming at a tournament, you're still somehow getting the job done. And if there's one game where your team needs to perform, it's going to be the finals. And I would not be surprised to see England do that. Um, yeah, we'll just have to see. Can they put it all together? What do you guys think?
I think England's definitely picked up some speed as the tournament's gone on. Like you mentioned, I too was a skeptic. I did not think they'd make it this far. I thought they would have had an upset by now. But they do look good, and as every game they win, they look better and better, even though the scoreline may not always show that. But they did look good today. They looked the best they have all tournament. They're trying out new formations, playing Bukayo Saka as a right wing back, and he looks good. Like I hate to compliment Saka, but he looked great out there and showed that he's actually a really good defender as well. Didn't really get to see that part of his game, but no, he actually looks really solid as the right wing back, and he still got forward, even got a goal that did get disallowed for an offsides. But yeah, England is scary, but I don't know if they keep winning and they look this bad, then I feel like it's gonna be they could win it all. I don't want them to win though. So I'm gonna go Spain. Let's go Spain, baby. I don't want it to come home ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty much also picking Spain just for the pure England hate. I haven't gotten over our independence from them yet. Get done. Also, it feels like they're just a team that is finding a way to win. You know, they came from behind to beat Slovakia with two 90th minute goals, including a 96-minute bicycle kick. It just seems like the type of goals that come to teams that are going to win the tournament, you know? Not to mention their goal against Switzerland to take them to extra time was in the 80th minute, 5 minutes after Switzerland had scored. So, unbelievable run, really. It could be the tournament for them. I won't count them out, but I I just rate Spain. They have had a much easier trip to the final, I will say, with the exception of Germany and France, but Georgia is they were good at the time, but don't hold a candle to the Netherlands.
I mean, I'll give you the Georgia game, but then also like England had Slovakia in the same round. So like I'd rather face Switzerland than face Germany. And yeah, no, I would rather face the Netherlands than France on that one.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
I'd say Spain probably of the two routes had a harder one. I think England made their route hard on
That
themselves.
is true.
True.
Uh, so I guess that wraps up Copa moving or
Nope.
Euros moving into Copa America. Uh, let me let me check Twitter real quick. So as we wrapped up, we just filmed the City Boys, St. Louis City Boys episode, and in between episodes, the Uruguay Colombia match finished up. 1-0, moving Colombia on into the final against Argentina. There was some drama going on because
Some drama?
some
Yes, this is
drama make
nuts.
shortly after the match concluded, tensions apparently rose to the boiling point. Uruguayan players entered the stands, started swinging on the fans. I'm looking at you, Darwin Nunez. What are you doing, bro? Literally,
Got in 4K, man. It's crazy because 20 years ago, Malice at the Palace was huge news. I mean, there's Netflix documentaries about it now. So for this to be going on, I don't know if we totally understand the scope just yet as it's still happening, but I expect a lot of suspensions to be handed down from this game. It is a little sad that it takes away from the actual soccer of the tournament because the Colombia Uruguay game was incredibly well contested. So that's a bummer. The Copa America in general has had a lot of questionable moments that don't have to do with the play. So that's been just, I guess, honestly, it's one of the quirks and parts to enjoy of the Copa America.
Yeah, parallels so much between Euros and Copa. Euros, it's like the most beautiful soccer being played end to end, trying to pass your way to a victory. And then you come to this side of the ocean and it's dog eat dog out there. It's a battle of who can get the most yellow cards. It's a battle for field position, but a physical field position. Like we're gonna tackle you all across the field just to make sure you don't have good set piece opportunities. Like we're gonna take you down with at the 50-yard line and you're not even in on goal. It both tournaments have been a lot of fun to watch. Frustrating from a USA standpoint, but fun as far as the two totally different types of competitions that are taking place. As far as what's currently happening, Malice at the Palace Part 2, I picked Uruguay to win this thing. So the fact that they got knocked out and then started going and knocking out fans is wild to me. I did not have that on my bingo card for this Copa.
They have a third place game too. They're playing Canada
they
in the
still gotta
third
play
place
Canada.
game. So looks like some bench
Canada
players in the
wins.
starting 11. Yeah.
Canada got third, guys. Wow.
Oh man, that means Kyle Hebert
Congratulations.
isn't returning yet.
But
Wait,
Kyle
it
Heber
means
got third in the
Kyle
Copa.
Heber got third in the Copas.
On the other side of the bracket, a much different game occurred when the most current world champions took on our friends in the true north and pretty pretty handled them pretty easily from all accounts. Canada never really got going and Argentina played the game inside the game just better. What'd you guys see?
I tuned into the match a little bit here and there. I did get to see Jesse Marsh coaching his boys out there. And I mean, although they were clearly outmatched, they didn't give up. And they were trying to put together attacks till the very end. And I mean, they had some stuff happen. Like, I'm trying to remember, it wasn't Alfonso Davies because he went off injured, but someone was bombing down the left wing and causing many issues. Yeah, they put a couple of chances just wide. And um, yeah, kudos to them for trying, for sticking into it. They're coming up against the world champs here, one of the best international squads at the moment in Argentina, who seem to have the world at their back, and all
The
the luck in the
GOAT.
world, all the luck in the world, and
The GOAT.
the goat himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if Argentina wins back-to-back Copa Americas. They are the current champs. And I remember hearing a an announcer say that if they are able to win this, they would be considered one of the best international teams, um, trophy wise. Brazil, of course, has a couple back-to-back World Cups, but in between that time, they never won the Copa. Um, And I think one other international squad won two Copas and a World Cup in between. So they're trying to match that record to become one of the best international squads at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, to be a champion at that level in back-to-back occasions is something that in our time I can only recall seeing, with Spain winning the World Cup in 2010 and then the Euros in 2012. And in my mind, that is one of the best teams of all time. That starting 11 could take on anyone on any day and beat them. I would put my money on them 100 out of 100 times. So,
and do it beautifully as well.
oh, some of the best soccer you've ever seen. So Argentina, not quite as beautiful, but still getting the results. And it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it does not hurt me at all to watch Leo Messi lift the trophy. The last thing I want to say, though, is I want to put the world on notice of Jacob Schaffelberg, the Canadian outside mid. I don't think it's a hot take at all that he's a great young and upcoming player. He plays for Nashville here in the MLS, and he's really ripped it up for them this season. I would not be surprised if this man got his move to Europe and we saw another Canadian succeeding at the international level. They really have done a great job developing their players, including Buchanan, Jonathan David, and obviously Alphonso Davies. I think Kyle Hebert's a really great Canadian as well. So I just want to put the world on notice. If you have not watched Jacob Schaffelberg or you want to sound smart talking about soccer, bring him up. He's a really good player, young and up and coming.
Yeah, some water cooler talk. Jacob Schaffelberg. Google his name. Um, yeah, dude, it's so hard to bet against this Argentina team, but if you're gonna do it, it's gonna be with this Colombia team. The way they handled the US warming up, going into the tournament, the way they've handled every team since then throughout this tournament, Colombia has looked so red hot. I'm like upset with myself that a couple weeks ago I didn't bandwagon this team and I decided to bandwagon Uruguay. I think it's so hard to bet against Messi, even in his age. Oh man, okay. I'm gonna somebody else make a prediction. I gotta think about this one.
I'll
I,
do it because I'm ready, man. I'm taking Argentina over Colombia. As good as this Colombia team is, I do think that Colombia will give them the challenge that we have been waiting for Argentina to face on this tournament. So, what I'm going to predict is a very hotly contested 3-2 Argentina victory with a goal from the GOAT to seal it up for them.
interesting. I agree. I think Argentina are going to win. Their team is just so much better. I really can't go against them. Colombia's been great. Luis Diaz is a fantastic player. James Rodriguez getting a resurgence in this Copa America is always a beautiful thing to see. But are you really going to beat Julian Alvarez, Messi, and company? I don't think so. Um, they have a lot to do to get past that squad, and now that Argentina has a taste of winning trophies, not touchable.
well, I've made my decision because Grayson and Ethan, I do think they're gonna beat Argentina. I do think they're gonna beat my boy Julian Alvarez, Lionel Messi, and company. I think if there's one thing this Argentina team has struggled in, it has been their back line. Amy Martinez has come up so big for them in so many chances, going all the way back to the World Cup, coming now into Copa. He, other than the GOAT himself, always has an argument to be man of the match. And I think this time it's just not going to work. I think Colombia is going to take home the victory. Colombia is going to stop Argentina from reaching that pedigree as one of the greatest international teams to ever exist. And Colombia is going to put their name firmly right back into that conversation and going to win this game 3-2, the same scoreline Argentina won in the World Cup.
Jacob, I have one fact for you before you lock this prediction in. The final is in Miami. Does this change your opinion at all?
No. Do
Wow.
you do you do you know what type of drugs are in Miami? And do you know where they come from? If anything, it cements my prediction even more. It's going to be a home game for Colombia. Argentina's going to get clowned out of the stadium. Colombia 3-2. Luis
Solid.
Diaz hat trick.
Whatever.
Wow.
Put money on it.
Whoa.
5,000 to 1 odds.
Well, guys, I think that's a pretty successful roundup there. Any final notes on these outside the city? Any random soccer news you want to throw out there that's been on your mind? Premier League teams are about to start their preseason, so be on the lookout for your favorite teams starting out. They probably won't have their best players. You know, of course, will be at the Euros, and I mean, if your team's good. So,
Yeah, if your team's good, usually they consist of really good international players as well. So
so Crystal Palace, of course, your team will be asked because your entire squad is playing international play for some goddamn reason.
can't crack a top five though.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. My final thoughts are that I really hope the US Soccer Federation has big eyeballs and big ambitions. No less than winning the World Cup in 2026. That's what we're here to do. And I want to give big props to all the fans and everyone on Twitter and all over social media that called for this. And I'm glad that soccer in the United States is polarizing enough to start a movement to get the coach out. I think it says a lot about the game's growth here in the States.
The Federation
Yeah,
needs two big ol' eyeballs right on this episode so they can sign one of our choices.
I second what you say, Ethan, except instead of big ol' eyeballs, I hope the Federation's got some grande cajones and goes out and gets somebody huge to take over this team. We need it. If it's a Jurgen Klopp, if it's a Jesse Marsh, if it's
Jose
a
Mourinho,
Jose Mourinho, if it's a that French dude's name who I forgot,
Zinedine Zidane.
or
Hey,
even, I heard Pep Guardiola's looking for a new challenge.
He did say that. He did say he was going to coach international after this next season for City. Most
I
likely
don't
Spain, but
I don't want us to wait an entire season of Premier League soccer to have a new head coach as far as USA goes, but as far as my Man City goes, it's cool. Get us a couple more trophies and then right off into the sunset.
we'll see.
I mean, if you wanted a challenge to really cement yourself as the best coach of all time, why not take the United States to the World Cup? You know, that sounds like a pretty good challenge to me.
Listen, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Pep, I heard you wouldn't, bro. I heard you were too scared. I was just talking to your mans and he said you're too scared.
Is that
So
is that Pep?
oh.
What the hell?
uh I'm glad that this summer has provided us a lot of beautiful soccer though. It's been amazing.
Yes, and for all of you outside the city fans and inside the city fans, be on the lookout for more of these episodes. You guys seem to really like it. We got a lot of love on the last one, so that gave us the confidence and the energy to keep doing them, even though we're not playing right now. So be on the lookout for more to come. Thanks for all the love, and we'll see you guys next time.
USA. USA. Let's go.